It's time for another episode of the Cultural Hall, as the music does, in fact, indicate it is an Articles of News. If this is your first episode of the Cultural Hall, we do 2 episodes a week. Typically, one of those is an interview or a subject, and the other one is news. In the second block of this Articles of News, we normally do news, but today we talk with Jennifer Roach about spiritual hyperopia, or is it hyperopia? We talk about that. And Elder Renlund's talk. That's in the second block. And in the third block, we talk about the temple ticker. That is the latest and greatest news about temples and other type structures. We get into
I think you should have a series. You should go from, spiritual hyperopia and then like spiritual diarrhea and spiritual, just however many different ailments that you can go. Yeah.
Sure. That's not what we do. We just talk about the temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and meeting houses and an aircraft carrier. So that's coming up in the third block of the Cultural Hall. You heard him already as he interrupted my flow of thinking. Mr. Mayor himself. How are you, sir?
That's my job, isn't it? To interrupt your flow of thinking.
It is worth becoming a Patreon saint so that you can see Father Mayor today. You'll have to see the video to understand.
It does look like that, doesn't it? Well, what's funny is I've had to take, because I've been losing all this, a lot of this poundage has been removed from my body. Anyway, all my shirts are now, like, all my necks are really large. So normally I do a 1 button down. So lately I've had to button them up. And even then they're starting to, so if I do 1 button down, it's really huge.
Yeah, no. You look like you should have a gold chain with your name on it when you
right.
to take.
So I button it up, but then even though I look like a father because of my white t-shirt underneath, it does makes me look like a father, a priest, a pastor, a padre. I don't know.
Thanks, Mash. So quick question about that. At what point are you doing the clothes shopping after losing all this weight? I've always wondered that, because that's like,
I think it's still too soon. I think it's if I do it, if I feel like I'm just kind of starting to feel like I need some shirts, but I'm probably just going to go to Goodwill.
Okay.
Or to everyone outside of Utah, Goodwill's the DI.
Yeah, the DI.
Everywhere else.
I mean, it's not the church doesn't own Goodwill everywhere else,
right? But same thing.
Not synonymous.
I mean, they look identical too. You walk inside, especially the new Goodwills. You would go, if this was not the label of Goodwill, you'd say this looks like a DI. Like I should take a picture. You'd be like, oh yeah, that looks like a DI.
Yeah. You want me to get you a shirt? Tell you what, go get yourself a shirt. You vend me how much it costs. I'll buy you that shirt. Whatever that shirt is. You get yourself a shirt.
You mean the $3 from
Goodwill?
Yeah,
from a Goodwill. Totally. I'm not talking from like a no.
Totally. Yeah.
Get the Goodwill. And wear it as a badge of honor, where you're like, look at this size. Look at the size of the tag on this shirt. Look where I'm at. Look at this. I am
just barely. By the way, everyone's probably sick of hearing about all my weight loss stuff, but I am so close to the 200 mark that I can just nearly taste it.
200 pounds lost, or being
no, meaning at 200 in front of so it'd be like 297. I started at 396. That's be like 100 pounds down. That means, and I haven't been in the 200s since like 2007, 2008, maybe before that.
2023 is the new 2008. Let's do it, baby.
That's right. So maybe then we'll talk about it. And the next time I'm on Articles of News, my goal is to be there. So
tell you what, you're not allowed again on an Articles of News until you're there.
Okay.
There's some incentive.
Well, maybe then I'll just gain all the weight back.
Oh no, it backfired. Let's do some Articles of News. Hit it, Peter. And away we go. Lots of news, some quick, some otherwise. I sent you the links to the stories that I had. Did you have a chance to peruse, or are you bringing your own stuff today?
I've got 2.
Bring one of them. Let's do it, baby.
So again, this is surprising that the topic of me for coming from me, but the Tabernacle Choir, Temple Square, just recently let go of one of its long-term members, but he's not just someone who sang with the choir, which he did. His name is Scott Barrick. Scott, he was not singing in the choir last Sunday, so he's done, but he was also the general manager of the choir.
Okay.
And his tenure, you can it was historic, and especially in the choir. This is the kinds of things that he brought. So it says as the general manager, his imprint was everywhere. So he established the choir's own record label. So
Okay.
that's a big deal.
Nice.
He produced 112 products, many of which climbed into the Billboard charts. So he's a Billboard chart-winning general manager, whatever. He launched the choir YouTube channel. That's like my modern renaissance into the choir was because of YouTube, right? He was there for the change of the official name and logo. He helped the choir become a member of a #1 Christmas program on PBS. I mean, he's the guy who kind of put all that together. He established presence on Spotify, Pandora, and other digital music channels. He coordinated the choir's Olympic 2002 appearance. His, I don't want to call it reign, but his, what would you call it? His tenure
I'll take that.
at the choir is quite historic, and he was an integral part of that as a general manager. So I just wanted to mention that because it'll be interesting. Whoever takes Scott Barrick's shoes will have a lot to fill. So he's been there through some historic things. So that just occurred. 21 years he was with the Tabernacle Choir.
I'm trying to look him up because, based on all the gold records he likely has and the fact that he started that, like, I want him to have a big, crazy toupee and the whole thing. He doesn't. He's just he
looks like he could speak at General Conference in a few weeks.
Yeah. And maybe he will. Maybe that's where the move is. He got his MBA from Harvard Business School. He and his wife, Shauna, have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. I'm finding it. Well, cool. Way to go, Scott. Maybe you love the choir so much. Maybe you should be the next one.
Someday I'd like to be in it. But again, as you mentioned last time we were on Articles of News, I'm running out of time. I have to move back to Utah if I'm going to
get it. Okay, I'm going to run through some quick stories real quick. And I don't know why I said real quick like that. Okay, so look up the Home Gardens Ward in Southgate, California. We'll put a link for it in the show notes. It is the first LDS meeting house to have been designed by a woman, Edith Northman, who immigrated from Denmark. We'll leave a link for that in the show notes. Also, the Idaho Falls 5th Ward Meeting House. It was designed by local architects Sundberg and Sundberg back in 1939. Also super cool. And the Paris, Idaho, that's a town by the Utah-Idaho border. The Paris, Idaho Tabernacle, all worth checking out. I've taken a deep dive ever since our episode with Benjamin Felix about the architecture of the church, and those are some of my favorite that I found recently. So get nerdy with me. Go check those out. And if you have other buildings that you think are cool, I know about the Garden Park Ward in the Salt Lake Valley. That's another amazing one. There's even a church just in the avenues in Salt Lake that is pretty unique. If there are other chapels,
is that what is it? The Garden Park Ward there too?
Yeah, Garden Park Ward is in the Harvard-Yale area of Salt Lake, and that's absolutely unreal. It's the last building that President Hinckley dedicated before he died.
It's beautiful.
I guess rededicated since it had been a chapel before, but pretty amazing. Getting nerdy about church architecture. Quick other couple stories. There is going to be a new book out about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell and the end of an American family. It's called The Doomsday Mother. So look forward to them.
The end of an American family makes it sound like this is a general type of family. And man, every time I read more and more about that, it's not a normal family.
No, but from the outside looking in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You would think that this is, it's the quintessential American family. It's called The Doomsday Mother, our friend.
That's what bothers me the most about that story, I think. Just because every time I look at it, especially with Chad Daybell, I don't know many people. When I see Lori, the way she acts is erratic and everything else that I've seen. So I personally don't go, oh, she seems like people I know. But Chad seems like people who I was on my mission with, or I served in Elders Corps and President. And that, some of the best people I know, and that's who did this. That's what's just like, are you kidding?
So I'm looking forward to mass consuming that book. The Doomsday Mother, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and The End of an American Family. So look forward to that. Speaking of books, I've already started, and I'm working my way right now through Bad Mormon. This is a book written by Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
The one with the suit?
Yeah, she's being sued. She's being sued by the church. And here was the thing. I couldn't figure out why she was being sued by the church just for the title of the book. That's not what it is. Do you know why she's being sued?
I don't, because my assumption was that as well. And so I think I was like, in my mind, I'm like, didn't we just get rid of the trademark Mormon and kind of focus on something else? So yeah, tell me about that.
So she filed a trademark application on the words Bad Mormon in June of 2022. She wants to use it on beer mugs, shirts, and socks. And that is where the church has an issue with it, not necessarily the title of the book. The church opposed the application over claims that the trademark was created to cause confusion, tarnishment, and dilution. Additionally, the church insisted that using the word bad is deceptive in that it falsely represents that opposer, the church or its members, are bad or otherwise behaving immorally or contrary to the teachings of the church. Here's the deal. Book's out. I've got it. I'm into chapter 3 in Audible. The case is set to be resolved in court in May of 2024. Book will be out for more than a year by the time it finally hits the courts. So, I think the use of the word Mormon is probably, I can see where the church is on that. I mean, there's not much though. Like if you go into all the microbreweries in Utah, they all have some derivative negative kind of connotation. Sure. Name. Polygamy, porter, and some of these other ones. Sure.
But those don't necessarily cause confusion. I mean, they might, but there's not much you can do about that.
Yeah. Well, and there's truthfully, I mean, the book is released. There's not much that the church can do about this either. Maybe they won't be able to, have their beer mug stuff, maybe some of the promotional materials that they would have done for the book. I'll tell you what, though, so far the book, meh.
We'll see. I want to know the ending.
Yeah.
I want to know the surprise ending.
It's a memoir.
Does she join the church at the end?
Sure. No, she was a member. I think she leaves the church at the end.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
But here's the deal. Like, I didn't know really what to expect. And so far, I'm like, okay, it's a person.
No, I know the ending.
In the
At the end, she's sitting in her room and someone knocks on the door and it's two young sister missionaries.
Yeah, there it is. She comes back. There it is.
Comes back.
You're right.
Perfect.
Yes. What was the other?
And there's a little bit of light shining behind them as she opens the door.
Yes. She had prayed about them the night before, and then they were there. Give me your other news story. I want to make sure that I give light, yes, pun intended, to the story that you had also prepared.
So, again, another Tabernacle Choir story.
Oh, come on.
That's all it is
to
today.
Become a one-trick pony there.
Not one, maybe two.
Okay, two-trick pony.
So I just wanted to mention that the 2023 choir school has begun. And if you don't know what that is, it's part of the audition process for the Tabernacle Choir.
Okay.
So the audition process starts in the summer. This is something that
he's saying audition, but he means audition. Go ahead.
No, I'm Utah, so I'm saying the audition process. I need to say it. Audition process.
Thank you.
The audition process starts in like August, and these are those who have gone through 3 different levels of the process. So these are the best of the best in this current class, if you want to call it that. And so then they get to come and rehearse and actually sing with and come and be part of the Tabernacle Choir, if you will, and attend rehearsals on Tuesday nights, and this is the final steps to them being weeded out to the end, and the final new Tabernacle Choir members chosen. And I don't know when that actually is chosen, but what I will tell you is if you are interested in doing this, the new audition applicants for the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square will be available online June 1st, and due August 15th. So then it'll start another round. And so kind of watch for that. If that's
Will you have
something
moved here by then?
No.
Come on, you
No.
can work remotely. Move here.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They need to
Oh.
have the Tabernacle Choir Temple Square Zoom version, and I'll totally do it.
I mean, you should look into it, because remember, they said they have opened up the choir to people not just 100 miles within Salt Lake City.
Yeah, but then eventually, if I got picked, I'd have to move home because it's not like I'm going to fly in.
No, I think that's what that is. And opening up the choir. Look into this. This was a story that we shared a couple months ago.
Yeah, but I didn't think that it meant that I could like do it remotely.
Well, no, you're not like a part of the choir, like the traditional, but there's like the choir that
like regional,
that all
franchises
sort of rehearses, and then you come to town for general conference. Look into it.
I didn't get that for some reason.
Look into it. Yes, you did not get it.
Well, and the reason why, and I can tell you the reason why, is I was going to give this story, and you guys did it without me.
Yeah,
and I was mad.
Well, you should spend some time learning about the stories that you didn't learn about spending some time doing, and keep practicing.
So I listened to that episode, but I was mad the whole time you were giving it, so I didn't pay attention.
Well, don't be mad. Be glad.
Okay.
Be happy.
I'm happy.
Interesting couple stories. One, this story out of Las Vegas. There was more than 600 investors that took part in a Las Vegas-based Ponzi scheme involving nearly $500 million that perpetrators used to buy luxury items and pay off gambling debts. Matthew Beasley, who's 49 and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, faces federal charges in connection with an FBI agent-involved shooting on March 3rd of 2022 at his home. That's what he's in jail for. He is not in jail for the nearly $500 million that he and others took. The total, $449 million. It started to go throughout various wards, not only in the state of Nevada, but also in the state of Utah. Their particular firm was like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're loaning money to people who are awaiting big claims, big insurance claims. And so we lend it to them, and you're guaranteed 12.5 to 25% on your money.
Oh, that's where it is.
So give us the money, we'll loan it to them, and then they'll pay us back, and every 90 days you'll make at least 12.5%. And so very trusting members of the church said, okay, all right, member of the church who's telling me that this is a great way to make money, I will second mortgage my home. I will take my 401k. I will give it to you in the total sum of $449 million. And man, they just spent it, paid off debts, bought jets, all the rich, lavish lifestyle that you would think. Just terrible.
So my bishop told me about something like this going on here. Should I invest? No, I'm just kidding.
At
Darren's a friend of mine. My bishop is not doing that. I'm just kidding. At Tithing Settlement, it came up.
He gave me this great idea about how I would never have to worry about money again.
In fact, he showed me how I could pay my tithing
in perpetuity
by having this.
If you want to hear a great episode of the Cultural Hall, episode number 502, we visit with Mark Pugsley and talk all about this type of thing. It's called Affinity fraud, and we spend the entire episode talking about that.
The thing I got out of that one, and I actually knew this, but if someone's marketing to other people in the church for any reason, and that seems to be their primary source of marketing, there's something wrong.
Sure.
Like, it's just in general that the product isn't right, or they're selling you a multi-level marketing scheme, or a Ponzi scheme, or something like that. That's if that's the primary source of marketing and gaining new clients, you got to look at that. If the church, if that's where they're getting.
A bizarre addition to that story, because it just broke this last week. The reporter who picked up that story had to pick up the Ponzi scheme story after the original journalist was killed.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. He was
because of the Ponzi scheme?
He was investigating another story, and the thought is that the person involved in that story had him offed.
Wow.
that kind of stuff happens in today Vegas. So
I was gonna make a joke about the whole lost wages thing,
yep.
but now it just kind
You
of broke
can't.
the whole.
That
Yeah,
falls
it's
on.
all done.
That feels a little tone deaf. There's a new historical film about the Nauvoo Temple that's coming from the church. Should finish up here in the early part of 2023.
Is it Mountain of the Lord? The prequel?
It's the pre-Mountain of the Lord. No, it's the story. I mean, kind of, I guess. It's the story of the building of the Nauvoo Temple. It'll follow the struggles and triumphs of the saints through the eyes of church members in Nauvoo in the 1840s who lived the temple building experience, featuring such characters as Bithia Fordham, Elijah Fordham. Elijah Fordham, if you don't know, is an early member of the church who, Elijah Fordham, Bithia's father, and an early member of the church who lost his wife and raised his daughter in Nauvoo while assisting with the construction of the temple. William Jones, who carved the first moonstone for the temple and worked on the temple until the exterior was finished. Elizabeth Jones was the wife of William Jones and one of the earliest members of the Relief Society. William Clayton also featured in this as well. And that should come out, like I say.
William Clayton of Come Ye Saints.
Yes. No toilet paper fear.
Yep. Pick the grass. Anyway. So here's what I hope. I have high hopes for this. I hope that there is a line that rivals.
Yes.
Here we will build the temple of our God.
That's not the line for me from that.
Oh, which one?
All I have is these two hands.
Oh, yeah.
Promise to make you laugh every day. That's the quintessential line from Mountain of the Lord for me.
Yeah. Well, I still think, here we will build the temple of our God.
I just want a iconic line. Is that too much to ask?
It's got to rival one of those two. So
yes.
That's what we're hoping for. Whoever's writing that, if you don't have an iconic line in there, start now. Rewrites, trials, get all the characters. I know you script writers probably are not seeking for the iconic line, but that's got to be there.
But
something that missionaries will quote everywhere.
It's the same as Quanata Foris from Lamb of God, the movie that I watched a bajillion times on my mission. Anyway, okay, there's 3 more stories I want to do, and then we got to be done because we've got the second block with Jennifer Roach. We got the third block with the Temple Ticker. Youngboy Never Broke Again. This was a huge story. He is considering a Mormon baptism. Several of you just said, what? Who? I don't even know what that is. In 2022, only Taylor Swift, you know who that is, and Drake, probably you know who that is, streamed more times than Youngboy Never Broke Again. This is an artist who now lives in Utah as he is under house arrest. The missionaries came upon Youngboy Never Broke Again, and he's talking about how now he's thinking about joining the church. He has to wait until he is no longer on house arrest. I'm not sure if that's because they can't get wet or he can't go to a place that would be deep enough water that he could be baptized. But he is essentially changing his life, says that he likes the message that these missionaries have brought to him and is considering a Mormon baptism, and the internet lost its mind.
Well, I went to one of his videos and right out of the gate was a scripture from Alma on his video.
Yeah. Changed. He's a changed man.
Scriptures from Alma means you're changed.
I guess a young boy. I guess he's a changed young boy. I spoke probably
not my style of music. I tried my hardest to listen to it all.
Well,
and I couldn't.
One of my favorite tweets I saw of this last week is that it said something like, the LDS Church is really working the transfer portal ever since David Archuleta left. They're really working the transfer portal to get someone new in, and that the idea that Youngboy Never Broke Again was that.
There you go.
That person.
Quite a name.
Yeah.
Youngboy Never Broke Again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
It really rolls off. Well, it fits if he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Sure.
It could be Youngboy. It kind of fits. It's a rapper name. Take it as long as you can. You
So
want.
many syllables.
Yeah. Jay-Z, that's
No,
not good.
no.
No, Youngboy Never Broke Again.
Of the member of the Church of Jesus
Yeah.
Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay, I got to get these two. LDS church employees can now get birth control coverage. This came out a couple weeks ago. A special thanks to Annette Luthi-Lyon. She sent this over to me. They will provide birth control coverage for its employees. For the longest time, they did not. The church founded DMBA, which is the Deseret. I don't know. Deseret Mutual Benefit Administrators. That was important. Back in 1970, it manages the employee benefits for about 100,000 people connected to the 25 employers of the LDS Church, that being BYU, Deseret News, Deseret Digital Media, etc. They had until February 1st not ever covered birth control as part of their medical plans, and now
we should do a whole episode on the history of birth control doctrine and that because that'd be interesting. I just kept thinking that I got to shut up because you got to get going.
Yeah,
you should do a whole episode.
I'll do that. And then the last thing that I wanted to share is there was a study out of Utah State. This is Susan Madsen, who's been on the Cultural Hall a bunch of times. There is a study talking about women and the positive impact of women who serve missions. Here's a couple of quick takeaways. We're going to do a whole episode about this, but women who took missionary gap time were 33% more likely to switch to a major with higher earning potential than women who did not take gap time. I thought that was interesting. Women who often switched majors with higher earning potential following their missionary service also better prepared them to secure financial stability later in life. And in a personal realm, upon returning from missionary service, women noted benefits that included increased interpersonal relationship skills, courage, confidence, personal awareness, maturity, independence, and an increased ability to overcome challenges. We found, this is the study, that 96% of the women who took gap time for missions returned to college after their time away. So only 4% did not return. So if that's a concern for you, whether you think it's going to be worth it or you're worried maybe, hey, I'm not going to make it back to school, statistics would tell me otherwise. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.